Hare
You
Krishna,
can.
dear devotees. Thank you for joining. Today we have a special session. We are doing glorification of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And we'll have a few people speaking. So we have Anadi Radha Devidasi. So we'd like you to start.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Gopal Krishna Goswami Namne Prabhupadasya Saitamya Prakasya Vatircha Pacharanam Kirtana Suri Bhagavad Padaya. I just wanted to thank the organizers because there's so many glorifications happening now for Guru Maharaj, but it's really sweet that the Vaishnavis can come together and sort of share their experiences with Guru Maharaj and glorify him in this way. So thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored to say just a few of my experiences with Guru Maharaj. Yeah, so I met Guru Maharaj when I was 23. Actually, he came when I was 22, but then for some reason, I had to leave the temple before he came. Like I missed him by 5 minutes. So it was Krishna's arrangement. I wasn't quite ready to meet him, but I could feel the spiritual, vibration in the temple. I'm from Boise, Idaho, by the way. And I was initiated by Gopal Krishna Maharaj when I was in 2016. And anyways, but 3 years before that, Maharaj came to Boise. He's been coming to Boise, Idaho for several years. I mean, since in the 1980s. And so Maharaj has been a really driving force for the Boise community, and he's the god or the guru for those who started the temple here in Boise, Idaho, Aruda and Anantarupa Prabhus. So Maharaj has always been here, and he when I met him, again, I was 23, and I remember the moment because uh, he, I attended his class, and then afterwards, I just couldn't take my eyes off of him. And, it's interesting because as much as we're not these bodies, I think when we're materially, you know, we're in our material sort of conditioning, we always see ourselves as this body. And as an American or as a white person, I guess, in Boise, Idaho, you don't necessarily see yourself like connecting with maybe someone from a different race or something like that. But I remember actually when I met him, the reason why I was inclined towards him was because of a lot of his disciples were my Shiksha gurus, kind of at the time. I didn't realize that was the term for them, but you know, I was very much attracted to his disciples here in Boise, and there were a couple of Aruda, Amrita Walsh, Malati, just different Mataji. They're just different devotees who really gave me a taste of the mood, because Maharaj's mood is very unique. There's this tinge of this strong color of seriousness, and then there's also an integrity within his disciples, but also they're a little radical as well. And I um and very and they have a sense of humor. I mean, devotees have a sense of humor. All devotees usually do, but I could tell there's this different taste that Maharaj has within, and he gives that to his disciples. And so I was attracted to the disciples mainly first. And so, but I never had the conception that I would maybe take shelter of him or anything. So, but when he came that in 2013, um, I couldn't keep my eye, I couldn't leave his presence. And so Mother Aruda, she said, "Do you want to take darshan? We're all going to darshan. Come." And she took my hand and took me toward to the apartment that we were going to take darshan with. And Maharaj was so sweet, something I'm sure all the disciples can reminisce about Maharaj and glorify is just how common his questions are, how sort of like a regular questions, very practical questions he asks anyone he meets is, what's your name? Where are you from? Where do you work? What do you do for a living? Are you chanting? How many rounds are you chanting? Are you reading? Very, very basic questions. And so he went through all those questions with me. The Maharaj, yeah, I work at this bakery. I'm I'm only chanting. I don't really have a set amount of rounds. And he's just said to chant more, or he said, just keep on chanting. Just keep on chanting. And after that time, I felt like my life sort of exponentially just moved and fast forward, if that makes sense. It was my life started, the pace of my life got quicker. And what I mean by that is just my spiritual life developed within a year. Just I was in the ashram the next year, and I know that if I hadn't had met someone like Maharaj who gave me an instruction, I had met different swamis like Bajranarayan Maharaj, Hanumat Prasheka Swami, but there was never someone who like gave me instructions. Then I don't think if I had those instructions that I would have taken the process as seriously as I did. And there's something, and I've heard this a lot in the last 2 weeks since Maharaj passed this earthly plane, is that within his instructions is the potency to really fulfill those instructions. And I'm hearing other sannyasis talk about Guru Tattva, and we were talking about in class today, how just when we receive the instructions of the guru, and well, first that we have the mercy that there's the guru, that a guru actually comes to us is the first step, but then we get that instruction and we're receptive, and then we follow through. It's like nothing can stop, nothing can stop you, because uh within the guru is Krishna, and he gives the power for us to fulfill his instructions. And I felt that very strongly. Now in retrospect, I don't think I thought that fully back then, but in retrospect, now I have this opportunity, sort of solemn, like solemn and grieving opportunity, but also like a bright opportunity to really remember his glories and remember my connection with my Guru Maharaj. And so when I think about it, I realize that he had this potency. He still does. So, so with that, after taking that instruction very seriously and starting to chant 16 rounds, and going into the ashram, it was when I took shelter of him in Washington, D.C. I went to New Vrindavan for a little bit. Actually, I was there for 2 years, and then I went to the Krsna house in Gainesville. And when I decided that I wanted to take shelter of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, I went to Washington, D.C. to see him, and I took shelter. And then 2 months later, I I went to Detroit, and I was in the mode of passion, and I had a lot of enthusiasm to be initiated by him. And I thought that I could be initiated just right there in Detroit, just after 2 months of shelter. And I was a little arrogant, actually, because I decided that I was going to beg him for giving me initiation in Detroit. Um, So I wrote a letter before I left there. I didn't receive an answer. But then when I went to him, he said, I received your letter. Let's talk. So I talked another time. He sort of rejected. He said, it's good you wait for a whole year. Um, so but I wasn't going to give up. I was so determined to be initiated. So I ended up going to him again once or twice more. And the last time that I came to him, actually, he told me, because my mentor, Mother Malati, who had a wonderful class yesterday, by the way, and I really appreciated all of what she had to say. She was looking after me and she didn't think I was ready for initiation. So she heard that I was going to get initiated because I called her. And she immediately, the next morning at like 3 a.m., she wrote a message to Gopal Krishna Maharaj saying, Anadi or Autumn is not ready for initiation. Oh, and so I ended up going to Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and I was really begging him for initiation. And he told me, and this is quite special. It's because it was sort of like confidential. He's very confidential in the way he talks. He's very personal in the way he talks. He told me, he said, for me to do that, for me to initiate you after I got this recommendation for you not to be initiated, he said, I'm just too high up there. Like basically, he was saying he's too respectable for him to go against any other Vaishnav. Wouldn't be sort of respectable, and he just couldn't risk it. And when I heard that, when he told me that, I realized that this is a man of integrity. He's going to follow the guidance of his god sister, actually. And I understood what he was saying. And then he asked me some more questions. It was about marriage and all this. He said, "You're 25, don't worry. You're not 45." But then later on, this is the conversation when he told me, because I was explaining my situation in New Vrindavan and some other things that were happening. And he said, I know everything. Like, I know everything. And I just kind of, at first I thought he was just talking about, he knows my situation, but it was this sort of ominous sort of instruction for me that the spiritual master just knows everything because he's connected to Krishna. And I just, what do you say to that? And Guru Maharaj is just like a king. He's a king. And when I was in his presence that day, especially, I realized that who am I to come all the way to Detroit and beg for his initiation when I'm not qualified yet? I've only been in the ashram for a year. Mother Malati doesn't think I'm a qualified. So, who am I? And it was just this huge humiliation slash humbling experience for me. And then, but then the next day, and I don't know how much time I have. I don't want to take too much time. I know people have a lot to say, but uh, the next day it was interesting because he had darshan, and I went into his room with all the devotees there in Detroit, and he was asking for questions, and I asked Maharaj, how can we please the spiritual master? Right, a very common question, but I was eagerly asking him, like, how can I serve you? Because I desperately want to, but I don't know how. And all he said, which is kind of contrary to his decision to not initiate me, but he said, the devotee needs to get initiated in ISKCON. And I just was thinking, like, oh my gosh, Guru Maharaj, like, okay, you're not going to initiate me, but I have to wait. So I waited a whole year and I did get initiated. Um, I was initiated in Washington, D.C. in 2016 on June 26th. And yeah, and then just one other story, because these are just things I've been thinking about lately, because it's interesting how now he's gone, that we all almost feel more connected by memory, by Shmriti, but when I came back to Boise, uh, I was with Mother Aruda. I was helping her with her Bhagavatam series for children. And but I had like no money basically, and I had no job, and I was just I just surrendered because I had made a few mistakes after initiation, and it had to do because I needed to get married, and there were some suitors that Maharaj was very much that knew Maharaj, and they had come to Maharaj about me, and basically like trying to get married, but it just didn't work out. And Maharaj knew about all of it. He was a part of it because, of course, I would ask him his permission for, just to try to court. And I ended up uh, back in Boise, not married. And he came to Boise in that 2017 year. And I took darshan with him and just Mother Aruda, just a very personal darshan. And I wrote him a card, just, expressing my gratitude and probably my apologies on the card too. But I also put like $300 or $400, I'm not sure. And this is also like, I only have probably $800 in my bank account. So I gave him like half of my money. And I remember, because I knew I wanted to do that so badly. I wanted to serve him somehow. Just that was what my heart was wanting. And uh, so when I gave him the letter after speaking to him briefly, he immediately opened it and he saw the card, and then he saw the money. He said, "Oh, what's this?" I said, Dakshina, it's Maharaj, it's for you. And he said, "I cannot take this money," basically said, "Oh, you need this. Like, you need this. I'm a sannyasi. I don't take money from young girls, basically like girls who need money," or something like that. I forget how exactly he said it. Maybe it was young women who don't work or something. But I would so he tried to give me the money back, but I refused because you don't just take the money back from your guru, right? But he insisted, and he said, "No, you take this money." And he took the money, he put it in Mother Rita's hand because I wouldn't take it. And he gave it back to me, and I just like cried because I just told Guru Maharaj, I said, "Maharaj, I'm so sorry that um I gave you so much trouble, and I was just kind of a nuisance, and I don't have any money, and I'm sorry." And basically he just was so sweet to me. He just said, I understand your mentality. You're just a girl that's trying to get married. And he just knew, he didn't think anything of it, actually. And I'm sure now in retrospect, I think about it and I think how out of all the innumerable problems that he has in his GBC slash all of the issues that he has to solve in his work, just my issues with trying to find a suitor, is just so small, actually. But he takes it so seriously, and he took it so seriously. He told me, I think you need to marry. I think maybe you should try to find an American man, because I was trying to date. I was trying to get like an Indian, Brahmin, right? But he said, no, you should try to find someone like an American. And I said, I mean, whatever, Mars, I didn't say that. I said, okay, let's try it. Let's see what Krishna brings. So he instructed Aruda and Anantrupa to find me an American man, and they did. In a year, I was married, and I have I have a beautiful baby. So I'm really grateful that all transpired. And I see it just as Krishna and Guru Maharaj's mercy. It's amazing how it all happened. I have my karma, of course, and I deal with that on a regular basis. But Maharaj's special mercy for his disciples, you can see, and I've seen it in many of his disciples' lives, especially when it comes to marriage. He just somehow he has this mystic potency, this power to really make to really set his devotees on the right path. And yeah, I can't, I could speak more, but I I just thank you for the opportunity. And Guru Maharaj is really still with us. I feel even more connected with Maharaj. Um, and I also send my regards and my respect to those that have known him for so much longer than I have, and it's just such a grieving process. So this is so helpful to be able to speak about him and to get into our emotions a little bit and honor such a wonderful, just like pure devotee of Krishna. I'm just 100% sure. And Malati Mataji or Prabhu, she was speaking last night about him, and she said that she's certain, there's no doubt in her mind that he was a associate of Lord Chaitanya, and that he came directly from, Vaikuntha or from Goloka to assist Srila Prabhupada in his mission. And she was using the words of Srila Prabhupada when he had told them as young devotees when he first came to America, that Prabhupada said to them that, they are coming from the spiritual world to assist this mission. So anyhow, it's just a very, there's just no doubt in my mind coming now, hearing from other Vaishnavas and knowing my own experience, that Guru Maharaj is still taking care of us, and he's a pure devotee, and he's still serving Srila Prabhupada. So thank you for listening, and His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you, dear Narirad Mataji, for your sweet offering. So now we will ask Vinda Prabhu to say some words. You're muted, Vinda Prabhu.
I'm just on my phone because I've just been traveling and I couldn't get on the Wi-Fi with my laptop, and so I have to hold my phone. I want to offer you all my respects and folded pranams, but then my phone will drop. So just 1 second. My humble obeisances to all of you. My humble obeisances to Gopal Krishna Goswami. I first met him in 1985, and that was up at Sharanagati Farm. And we, on that occasion, well, it was the first time we'd met him. And we had 2 little girls at that point. And we asked him about maybe names for like devotional names for our girls. And he gave us a choice. He said, how about Radha and Sita, or Radha and Madhavi? And so they became Radha and Madhavi. We didn't take initiation for another year. We'd been around the devotees for a couple of years at that point. We'd moved from the prairies to be near Sharanagati Farm, had a place at Sharanagati, to be associating with the devotees, because we understood that was what was necessary. And we still had our day jobs and 2 little kids, preschoolers. And at that point in time, there wasn't really, you didn't choose a guru. There was whoever was the person for that zone, that was your guru. If you wanted to take initiation, that's who it was. And I was a little more attracted to somebody else, but he wasn't the one that you would take initiation from. He was a guru, but he wasn't the one for the zone. And within a relatively short period of time, he left the movement and spectacularly caused a problem. And I felt so grateful to Krishna that he didn't give me my choice, because Gopal Krishna Maharaj was so steady all those years, and no breath of scandal, and nothing at all like that. So I came to really appreciate so many aspects of him. So when we did take initiation in the summer of 1986, it was an interesting fire sacrifice because everybody at that fire sacrifice is still really active in ISKCON, and except my husband, who has passed away. But everybody else is, a leader in ISKCON. And after we were initiated, we asked Guru Maharaj, so what happens now? Do we move into the temple? Because that's all it was at that point. You either lived in the temple or you were fringy. And if you lived in the temple and then left, you had blooped. There was no idea of a congregation or people that were friends of Krishna and lived outside running their own life. But he asked us, he said, you're well situated where you are, keep doing what you're doing. So we were as well as our sort of summer place at Sharanagati, we had a home and jobs in a nearby town, and we had home programs, and he came one time and we did a home program for him, and the newspaper wrote it up, and he was like Srila Prabhupada in that, as long as the article says Hare Krishna, it's a success. And so it was a nice program. And later I understood that there had been a couple just before us that were somewhat like us. They were married, had a couple kids, had careers, and they had given all that up and moved into the temple as his disciples, and it has failed spectacularly. And so he, out of his love and care for us, was like, okay, we're not doing that again, which is really interesting to me that he was like Prabhupada, adjusting as he went along with what he learned. And, and being really caring about it. It's like, oh, this is what we do, so this is what we do. It's like, no, we're not going to blow this couple out of the water like we lost that last couple. So I really came to, I didn't know it at the time, of course, but way later when I learned about how that went, I was very, very appreciative. My husband used to write him letters, and he used to write back. My husband used to write letters of, I'm such a worm in stool, I'm so lowly, I'm so, bad at everything. And I could see by the answers that isn't what he was hoping. That isn't what Gopal Krishna Maharaj was hoping would be in the letters. It looked like he was hoping what would be in the letters would be things like, we've had X number of home programs, this amount of books have been distributed, something more along that lines. The hearing I'm such a lowly worm wasn't really what he was interested in, which was also quite fascinating. In those days, of course, no email. It was always snail mail, hard copy, letters on his letterhead. Tridandi Swami. It was very, very nice to get email from him, get letters from him, not emails. Let's see. Another thing I would like to tell you about is a very important thing for me when I guess maybe let's go chronological. So then my husband passed away in 2005, very early in 2005. He had lung cancer, and it all happened very suddenly. Like he was coughing a bit in November, and by March he had passed away. And I didn't think he was going to pass away. Even like the morning that he passed away, that was the first time I was like, oh, this could have a different ending than getting better. But, that same day, somehow or other, Guru Maharaj called and talked with him. And, I just can't get over the amazing, how did he even, it wasn't like he called every week. It wasn't like he even called every year, but he called from India and like was checking in, like, how are you? Everything okay? And found out what's going on and gave his, very sweet blessings. And yeah, so that was pretty amazing. It wasn't until after my husband passed away that I was kind of trying to help in this program, things like that, ISKCON. And one of the things that we, as a little brand new group Winnipeg, we had a man who was problematic. And so Gopal Krishna Maharaj was going to visit Canada, and he was going to be in Regina. And that's only like an 8-hour drive. So I was going to go over there and meet him. And all the devotees in Winnipeg were saying, and ask him about this problem man. And so I started in that conversation with him. I was going to say, like, this man is so odd. He brings deity, it brings flowers for the pictures of the deities. We didn't have deities, but brings flowers for the altar. But in the elevator, he gives some of them to just strange ladies in the altar, and he makes people feel uncomfortable, and he teases the kids. And I started in with this long list of complaints, and I didn't get very far in the list. And Guru Maharaj said, "Tell him not to come." And it was flabbergasting, but it was so freeing. It was like, you mean I can do that? Like, I can tell him not to come. And it really made a change in how I viewed that service of having programs for devotees. Suddenly that there was freedom, like I could actually set boundaries. I could actually say that unacceptable behavior was unacceptable, and you change or you can't come. And after I had that mindset, way less unacceptable behavior happened. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. Maybe Guru Maharaj's mercy too. So let's see. One of the things I also came to really, really appreciate about Guru Maharaj is, of course, he was GBC as well as Guru. And whenever he came somewhere, like he would come to Canada like once a year, everybody would come to him with their problems and the complaints. And he was always, let's hear the other side of it before he jumped to any conclusions and started, chastising people or it was always like he needed to hear the other side of it. And that was so balanced and, real and caring that I just, was, oh, wow. And yeah, so that was the perspective of him that I mostly saw and appreciated. I wasn't a very good disciple. I should have written him a letter every month with a report. I didn't. I always was surprised that he remembered me, but he always did. And yeah, I am absolutely positive. I mean, it's way too early to lose him. I wish that we hadn't, pushed him so hard to keep doing things. But on the other hand, he himself wouldn't quit. He was saying he needed to, finish it on the battlefield. He said, "Don't take that away from me." And I believe that it was the right, although it's never the right time, I believe that it was the right time for him to move to the next phase of his service. A friend of mine, is Sri Radha Govinda here? Sri, a friend of mine from Moscow, did a punya chart, and it was pretty amazing. So, it was maybe the right day, and we just all have to, serve in separation now, like the Prabhupada disciples have been doing all along. So, Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you there, Vrinda Devi. And you were traveling, but you made the time to come and give your offering, your glorification for Maharaj. So
Yeah,
now,
it's nice to be.
Premalila Prabhu, would you like to?
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to dear Srila Gurudev. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Goswami Nitinamine Prabhupadasya Sahityam Yah Prakasha Vitirya Cha Pracharam Kritavan Sadhu Bhagavad Padaya Te Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarinya. So first of all, I want to thank Rukmini Priya Mataji and Radha Govind Mataji for letting us share our memories about Maharaj. And thank you to the Radha Shakti Forum also. I really actually like that name, Radha Shakti Forum. So I remember going to Seattle in 2022 when Maharaj visited Seattle. And I went to see him with Malti Manjari Mataji there. And at that time, I was actually struggling. I got initiated in 2014. And because, Maharaj has always been so far, and I just couldn't get enough time to spend with him. My conversation or my meetings with him were very brief. And you have this desire to see your Maharaj in action and want to connect to him. But I wasn't feeling that I have any connection, or I wanted to feel some emotions in my heart for him. So I told Maharaj that, Maharaj, I listened to the glorification of all my senior God brothers and God sisters, and I also wanted to glorify you like that. So Maharaj told me that Vaishnavas, they don't like to be glorified. But then I said, but Maharaj, I want to glorify you. So then Maharaj tells that if you want to glorify, then you can do it on my Vyasa Puja day. So, I guess you inviting me to speak here, I think Maharaj is fulfilling my desire to glorify him. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatataamapi siddhanam kaschinman vetti tatvatah. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. And the one who knows Krishna in truth is Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. Because he also says that Vasudeva Sarvamita Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such souls are very rare. And I firmly believe that Maharaj was such souls who was very rare, who actually he actually knew Krishna, like knew Krishna as Bhagavan, as God. And Maharaj's life is like very exemplary in the sense that like he really exemplifies yat karoshi yat dasnashi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushvamada arpanam. That whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. And Maharaj perfectly exemplified this, that whatever he does is for Srila Prabhupada and for Krishna. Maharaj, in his own will, he said that I never took one step away from ISKCON. Even though he used to live in Vrindavana, but he would never go to any other temple, but he would always come to only Krishna Balram temple, and he just stay there. So he was very, very staunch Prabhupada man, just following Prabhupada's instructions very, very strictly, and to the core of his heart, he actually had these instructions from Srila Prabhupada that this is my life and soul, and he followed that and set an such a excellent example for all of his disciples and the disciples of other Guru Maharaj also. So I was listening to this glorification from my senior God brothers. And one of the God brothers, he was telling, and this is very like I also believe in that some of the Maharajas are there who are very good orators. Some of the Maharajas are there which are very good kirtaniyas. But Gopal Krishna Maharaj did not manifest these opulences. He manifested a very, very rare opulence, which is very, very hard to find, even though we are all followers of Srila Prabhupada, and that opulence was Vaishnav Seva. And I completely believe that dasanu daso asmi. And I remember this seeing this video where Radhanath Maharaj, he went to see Maharaj just recently, maybe a month or 2 months back. And at that time, Maharaj's health was very, very frail. He was very fragile, very weak. Like he would lose the balance and he would fall down couple of times. We have heard all the time on the WhatsApp group. But when Radhanath Maharaj went, he offered him obeisances. And even though Maharaj needed help to get up from the chair, he wanted to offer obeisances, but then Radhanath Maharaj told him not to do that. So Radhanath Maharaj hold him and made him sit on the chair. But as soon as Radhanath Maharaj left that place, he again stood up on his legs and offered obeisances, even though he could not. So that was like such an amazing scene to look at. Like, I also remember that when Pankajangri Maharaj at Mayapur, when he lost his battle with COVID and he departed from this world, I was looking at the funeral ceremony, very, very sad. And then on the video, they showed that Jayapataka Maharaj came to see the funeral ceremony. As soon as Maharaj saw that Jayapataka Maharaj came, he was seeing him in the video, not personally. But as soon as he saw Jayapataka Maharaj, he got up from the chair and paid his obeisances to Jayapataka Maharaj. So, like, even though his health was not so good, but uh, like he showed this opulence of Vaishnav Seva and Vaishnav care. Also, there is one of the stories that Sham Sundar Prabhu and his good wife, they were traveling from Delhi to Vrindavan, and they are not disciples of Maharaj. But they were traveling from Vrindavan to Delhi and they met very horrible accident where they got injured both very much. And Maharaj, as soon as Maharaj came to know, he brought them into the Delhi temple and took care of them, not for some days or for weeks, but for 11 months. 11 months they were at the Delhi temple, and Maharaj would take care of them like anything, like his own disciples. And they were not his disciples, but he took care of. So he perfectly exemplified this for us to follow. And as his disciples, if we can carry this forward, we can please him. So I would also see that, I think it was 22 when Maharaj came, there was an initiation ceremony of Janava Kripa Mataji and Param Sundar Prabhu. And there was one or two Prabhupada's disciples who are residing in Boise still. And see, Maharaj is he is very posh, sophisticated person, and he doesn't like to go so close to other people. But I would see that he would sit very close to this Prabhupada's disciple. He would take their hands in his hands and he would talk so lovingly. And it was such a scene to cherish, that Maharaj is getting so close to these disciples and talking to them. It was such an amazing scene to see. Then we went to Vrindavan in summer of 2022, and I saw that many Maharaj's disciples from United States who were traveling, they were going through Delhi, meeting Maharaj, and then going to Vrindavan. So I called Maharaj that I wanted to come and see. And the Maharaj's servant wouldn't let my call go through to Maharaj. And many times I ask and they would tell me that, okay, we will ask and let you know, we will ask and let you know. And then finally, when we are very close to Delhi, I said that I'm very close, just let me know if Maharaj has time to see me. And then Maharaj told that, I'm coming to United States in couple of weeks and I will see you there. So you don't have to come. And it was so disheartening. I was like, my heart was just broken. Tears came in my eyes. But then somehow inside my heart, somebody told me that if Maharaj is saying this, then you should just accept it and just let it go. So I somehow pulled myself together, and then we moved on with our journey. And very soon we saw that a huge tree fell down on the road. huge tree, and there was such a traffic jam, and we were to reach Vrindavan 8 o'clock in the night. Instead we reached there at 12 o'clock in the night. So then I came to know that somehow Maharaj knew this, that if I had went to see him, then I would have spent at least 2 hours over there, and instead of reaching at 8 o'clock, I would have reached Vrindavan at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and we didn't have food, and we were so tired. So somehow, I knew that Maharaj said no, because he knew that we would have this problem, and that's why. So that gave a lot of peace in my heart, that we just trust Maharaj. Some of the very sweet memories of Maharaj that I have is, one time Maharaj, our temple was going through a very hard time. The management was, we are making a new management, and Maharaj was there, and I wasn't even there, and many senior devotees were there. And later on, I came to know that in my life, I have been a very average person, and I never thought that I can give a intelligent advice to anybody, or my opinion counts. I never felt that, but Maharaj was the one who, with lot of conviction, he told the senior devotees that take Prema Lila into the board because she's very intelligent. So that I will cherish till the end of my life, that Maharaj said such thing for me, and I wasn't even there, but some of the devotees, they told me that Maharaj told like this about me. And then I also remember that in 2019 when he came, he was supposed to go after 2 days, but then he postponed his journey one more day, and there was no sign of my Brahman initiation at all. And I was also not expecting. I was okay, because in my heart I was saying that whenever it's right time, Maharaj will give. No, why do I have to push it? And I was not in a hurry. But he postponed his journey by one day, and the last day, Anantarupa Prabhu, our temple president, called that you have to come immediately within half an hour. So somehow me and my younger sister, we ran to the temple, and then we waited for Maharaj. And then Maharaj gave second initiation to me and Anadi Radha Mataji. And I remember that, like that time I really felt that he was like a father guiding. He would recite the mantra, and then very lovingly, like a father, tell to the child that now you recite, and then we both would recite the mantra. It was so nice, so loving, very, very sweet, actually, very sweet. um, and then one time, way back in 2014 or 15, one crazy man, when he was visiting Boise, one crazy man took a naked sword or a knife, and he went into the temple in front of Maharaj with that sword in his hand, and saying that I will kill you, and this and that. And he was shouting, and everybody was just stunned, and so like fearful that now what he's going to do. But there was not a tinge of tension or stress on Maharaj's face. He was very, very sthita prajna, very, very peaceful, just sitting on the Vyasasana, not even like even a slightest sign of worry or anxiety on his face. And later on, the police captured him and put him into the jail. But Maharaj is like that, like a pure devotee. And he was mm, and I also remember that actually Maharaj loved food. Because of his heart problem, he could not eat ghee and oil. So very first time after my initiation, when I made breakfast for him, I made some poha and for some upama. And the very first, when I took the plate, very first question he asked me, did you put any oil? And just for 1 minute, my heart said that I can lie and say that I did not. But then somebody in my heart, and that is Maharaj's mercy also, that somebody said in my heart that he's my spiritual master. If I start my relationship on the basis of a lie, then I will never forgive myself. So I said, Maharaj, just to give choke, I just added a very little bit so that the mustard seed would crackle nicely. And then he said, okay. And then he ate everything, and then he loved it so much. He asked for second. Some devotees that told me, Maharaj doesn't eat any chili and any green chili, don't add anything. But I added, and Maharaj loved it, because Maharaj actually did not like bland food. So he loved it. So, saying all this is that, he was, he exemplified the devotee care in his life. He showed us that, if we want to please him, we need to cooperate and we need to serve the devotees. And that is what I am carrying in my heart. Actually, as Anadi Radha Mataji told, I also feel more connection to him, because now there is no barriers that who has more access to Maharaj. Now Maharaj is accessible to anybody in the world, and at any time. Anytime you can talk to Maharaj, anytime you can connect to Maharaj. So there is no barrier. So I feel more connection to him, and my determination to please him actually grew more. That, I want to follow his instructions. I want to please him, because I know that Guru Tattva never vanished. He's always there, whether he is in his physical form here or not present, but he's always looking after us, and he's blessing us, and he will be pleased if we follow his instructions. And because his instructions are Prabhupada's instructions also. And if we try to please Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj will automatically be pleased. So, with that, I will stop over here. Thank you again for giving me this opportunity. It is so wonderful. And I hope that, you all bless me, that what I could not do when he was physically present here, I can now do and can please. So please bless me and pray for me. Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear Premalila Mataji, for your heartfelt words. So now Aditi Ganga Mataji has joined. So we have a few more. So if you can keep it 5-10 minutes, then we can have everyone speak. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Does that mean it's my turn to talk?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull up my thing here. I really appreciate you setting this up. It's really nice that we all get to kind of meet and talk about Maharaj. It's really sweet. So I kind of wrote out basically kind of the timeline of when I met Gopal Krishna Maharaj. So I first met Gopal Krishna Maharaj in Boise. He would come there every year. He came one year when I was really pregnant with my son, and I had one of my Hare Krishna shirts stretched over my belly. And as soon as I walked in, he said to everyone, he said, I can see you're expanding your child population. So I met with him later that day, and he refused to let me pay my obeisances because of my pregnancy. He could tell that it was hard for me to get around. And he would always gently ask how many rounds I was chanting. It would be very little, but he never seemed disappointed. He would just very nicely ask me to chant 16 rounds. I asked him to aspire for initiation, even though I did not qualify at all. He very kindly accepted and continued to encourage me to chant 16 rounds. Being a new devotee, I didn't know what kind of mercy I was receiving. To be in Boise, to meet Maharaj in such small groups, to have such direct interactions. Looking back, this was really, really amazing and so special, especially after hearing some of my godbrothers and sisters' India stories about meeting with him with hundreds of people. At that time, my family and I moved back to Oregon, so not much later. So that association was gone for many years. And I'm sad that I missed that. After being in Oregon for 10 years, my husband wanted to move back to Boise. I was very comfortable in Oregon, and I had a wonderful job and friends. and nearly all our family was nearby. And I had a service at the temple that I loved dearly. I didn't want to move. I finally said, okay, we'll move if the pieces fall into place. And with months of trying, it just wasn't working. So we visited Boise when Maharaj was there, and he heard of our situation and how devotee association was hard to come by. And he immediately said, you should move to Boise. And all of these arguments that I had with my husband about why I didn't want to leave Oregon and why we should stay in Oregon just disappeared. They were just gone. You know, like I wasn't going to argue with Gopal Krishna Raj. And obviously, it's just like literally my brain went empty. And so with his blessing, with his instruction, within 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, we both had jobs and we had a place to live. So everything like fell into place as soon as he gave that instruction. He would ask everyone during classes to read at least one verse a day of Bhagavad Gita. He would ask for participation. He'd say, raise your hand if you will read one verse a day. He'd always ask for people to commit. During a home program, it was actually at Prema Leela's house. He was telling a Krishna Leela. And I'll tell you kind of the idea of the story, but his storytelling was, of course, much, much better. So Krishna was stealing butter from the neighboring gopi. The gopi complained to Mother Yashoda, and Mother Yashoda asked for proof. So the next day, the gopis caught Krishna basically red-handed. He had butter all over his hands, and he was, stealing the butter. So she started to walk Krishna to Mother Yashoda to show his butter-covered hands, but somehow he slipped out of her grip without her noticing and replaced himself with the gopi's own son. And while doing this, he transferred the butter from his hands to the gopi's son's hands. And when she arrived to show Mother Yashoda naughty little Krishna, she was actually presenting her own son. And while Maharaj was telling this story, he was laughing so much that he was crying. It was the best story to hear from him because he was just so immersed in it. 1 year after moving to Boise, we moved to Dallas so the kids could attend Gurukul. This was August of 2020, middle of COVID. I thought that I would never get initiated because he wasn't traveling during COVID. And then one day my friend called me and said, Maharaj said he would give initiation over Zoom and specifically asked for me. So 4 months after moving to Dallas, I had to get a recommendation letter from a temple president I didn't know and talk about service I couldn't do because the temple was closed. Nityananda Prabhu was kind enough to give me this letter. And on December 19th of 2020, Maharaj officially initiated me. Such mercy at a time we all needed it the most. The first year he came back to the US, I traveled to Baltimore with my family to see him. I was sitting upstairs in the waiting area, hoping to get a chance to talk to him. He exited the elevator and had the biggest smile on his face. I mean, he was just beaming. It was just really contagious. And he looked right at me, and you just couldn't help but smile gleefully back and like feel the joy. I'm extremely grateful that Gopal Krishna Raj was always so kind to me. He would always gently inquire about my rounds I was chanting and ask me as nicely to please chant 16 rounds a day. Words really fall short of how I feel lucky and grateful to have had his association, kindness, and accepting me as a disciple. He once told me that determination is a must for spiritual advancement. Rupa Goswami has listed determination as one of the key factors of making spiritual advancement. The strength to become determined comes from attentive chanting and good sadhana. And you must complete your rounds daily without fail. That will protect you against Maya. Intelligence is more powerful than mind and senses, so use your intelligence to reject Maya. The level of mercy he bestowed on the world by spreading Srila Prabhupada's mission was astounding. He never stopped. Even when it was recommended for his health to not travel, he did anyways because he knew his disciples needed him. He took the long flight from India to America the last 2 years, even though it was so physically taxing for his body. Even still, he met with everyone by group or one by one, depending on the need. He continued to meet with everyone, even though he was tired and his voice was nearly gone. In fact, during one of my meetings with him, he actually apologized to me for his voice. It's really like the epitome of humbleness. After all this, you would find him on the altar for Mangal Arti every day. After Mangal Arti, he would spend quite some time serving his personal deities. He lived and breathed Krishna consciousness. There was never an ounce of pride or ego. He was simply trying to serve. Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, dear Aditi Ganga. So sweet. Thank you for sharing. So Malati Manjari, would you like to?
Yes, Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, always to Prabhupada, always to Gurudev. Um, thank you,
If you can increase your volume a little bit, can you increase your volume?
Okay. I'm going to try that one. Okay. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैरेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Please accept my humble obeisances, always to Srila Prabhupada, always to our dear Guru Maharaj. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. And also,
Malti Mataji, little more volume, little more.
it won't go more than that. It's 100%. I'll try to speak louder. Is that okay? I'll try to speak louder because it is at 100%. It won't go louder than that, I'm afraid. Can I be heard now?
Yes, we can go ahead, speak.
Okay. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and also thank you for giving me the opportunity to associate with all of you, because I don't know any one of you except Aditi Ganga Mata and Premalila Mataji and Anadi Radha Mataji. So thank you for your association, Mataji. I just want to say that firstly, I feel so fortunate and grateful that Guru Maharaj gave me initiation. I know that all of us are very grateful for that he is my Guru Maharaj. That is what I'm so grateful for, that he is my Guru Maharaj. And I say that to myself every day. You are my Guru Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. I did not have that much interactions with Guru Maharaj, except probably once a year when he came to Boise. After 10 years of coming, when Guru Maharaj was there, we left. My husband was sick. So we went to live in Colorado, where we are, because he has Parkinson's. And then because my husband was sickly and I couldn't visit Guru Maharaj whenever he came. But like I know, Mataji, you have said that, no matter if, I'm not present, but Guru Maharaj always remembered. He remembers each and every one of us, no matter he has thousands of disciples. He sees the person, he knows the name, he knows what you're up to, how you have been, and everything about us. So that really was so amazing, and I always felt like Guru Maharaj would not remember me because I haven't seen him because of my husband's illness. But Guru Maharaj used to ask everybody, how is Malati doing? And then he even wrote to me early this year on WhatsApp and said, Malati, please write to me. But unfortunately, every time I write to Guru Maharaj, my email doesn't go through. I have no understanding. And I kept telling Guru Maharaj, I've written to you like 3 times, but you're not getting it. So finally, my god sister, Purti Krishna Mata, she took the letter to Guru Maharaj and she sent me a picture of him reading every word of it. So I was so grateful for that. And the most wonderful thing I remember about Guru Maharaj is how loving, how sweet, and how caring he is. Because I always wanted to be like Prabhuji's. I was not satisfied with cutting vegetables and cooking. I wanted to do service like his personal servants. I wanted to massage his feet. I wanted to wash his clothes and clean his apartment and do the things for him in that way. And I feel like Guru Maharaj knows each one of us what is in our heart, in our desire to serve him, and he gives us that opportunity, like Prema Leela Mataji was saying. So I had many instances in the few times I've met Guru Maharaj that he, one time he said that he needed his clothes washed. So Gopal Hari Prabhu came and said, Malti Mataji, can you go see Guru Maharaj because he wants his clothes washed? So I said, yes, of course. And I ran all the way. And Guru Maharaj had this bundle of clothes. He bundled it all up, tied it up, and he gave it to me. But the first thing he said was sorry. He said, I'm so sorry, Malti, you have to wash my clothes because I know how much of work you have. And I was like, no, Guru Maharaj, don't tell sorry. I am so happy you asking me to wash your clothes. So I had the service of cleaning his apartment before he came, after he left, watching his bathroom and all that. So I was ecstatic doing these services. And I remember Guru Maharaj once came to China when, after I left Boise, we went to China, and Guru Maharaj came in May of 2017. He was there for 9 years, and that time is when he was starting to get sick. And so I served him. Premalila Mataji gave me all the recipes to cook for Guru Maharaj, all the sabjis he likes and the cake he likes to eat, because he doesn't, it's all non-fat yogurt, non-fat milk and everything. So she gave me the recipe, and he was so excited because when he landed, all his Chinese people, right? Everybody, the devotees, that most of the disciples were disciples of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So they were cooking all their Chinese way of eating, So, and Guru Maharaj was like, okay, he was so tired when he arrived, but then I had cooked for him that prasadam for him. And then the first thing after he saw me, he said that was so good, Malti, because I came, traveling is difficult, but then when I saw the nice prasadam you had cooked, it really made me happy. He was thanking me so much. So that is one of the things that I find that Guru Maharaj is always so kind, so loving. And one time when I washed his clothes, one kurta was missing. And then the devotees called me and said, Guru Maharaj wants to see you. So I had to wash his clothes and iron his clothes. So when I went there, and everybody was asking me, said, Mataji, did you see the kurta? It's missing. I said, no, whatever was given to me, I washed it, I dried it and ironed it, and I brought it back. And then the devotees were all, going on, but it's missing, it's missing. And I was so afraid. And Guru Maharaj just jumped in so lovingly, so kindly. He smiled and he said, no, 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 don't worry about it. You don't have to worry. I may have left it in the last place that I visited. And I was like so relieved because, I didn't take Guru Maharaj's clothes, his kurta or anything, but, it was so kind and so loving, and that smile. When I came back from China, I went to Detroit to see Guru Maharaj with Amrita Mataji. She took me. And the first thing Guru Maharaj saw Amrita Mataji, he said, did Malti come? And then I was in the kitchen helping. And then I ran because I heard Guru Maharaj's voice because he had gone for a walk. Then I just came down and paid my obeisances when I got up, and he was smiling and he said, Malti, you came all the way to see me. You came from China. So I said, no, Guru Maharaj, I came back already to the US. So I came because Amrita Mataji brought me. So this is the things, and I got an opportunity to wash his clothes again in China. One of our god sisters is Jayanti Mataji. She's from Kyrgyzstan, and she and her husband. So we served Guru Maharaj nicely in China. And when he gave us the clothes for washing, his coping was inside there. And we were both washing his clothes, and we saw that, and we were like ecstatic, because Jayanti Mataji, she cried and said, this is my father's clothes. But for me, I don't know why, but when I took his copy in my hand, watching, both of us were watching together, I cried because I felt like, maybe this is not a right feeling, but I felt like my child. I'm watching his clothes, it's like, it was just such amazing feeling to touch Guru Maharaj's clothes. Then I always, when I see shoes, I hit on my head. I said, Guru Maharaj, please give me some intelligence. All my god sisters and god brothers are so intelligent. They can write shlokas, they can speak shlokas. I don't know anything. You please help me. So I beat my head always with these shoes. So those are the things. And Guru Maharaj just smiles. And when he sees my husband, who, my husband is not, he tries to just chant his around, but he's given up some things. So Guru Maharaj will put his arms around my husband and say, "Are you still eating that chicken?" It was so kind, and it was so kind. So this is the thing I remember Guru Maharaj the most: how loving, how kind and compassionate, and so caring in everything, and no matter which level we were at or how we're trying to serve him, he was always so gracious and so grateful. And that's how he always expressed, "Thank you for doing this for me." And so much of humility that it teaches me, it taught me a lot, that how much of humility I have to learn. So that is my memories that I have of Gurudev, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, for giving me this opportunity to share. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, dear Manjari Mataji, so much for your offering. So Shri Radhe Mataji, would you like to say a few words and we can wrap it up? Shri Radhe Govinda Mataji. Nitya Kishori, are you still there? Would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna. I'm so thankful to everyone for sharing their heartfelt experiences with Maharaj. And thank you. It's a fortunate moment hearing so much glorification about Maharaj. So thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, so thank you all for coming on and sharing your stories with Maharaj. We serve in ISKCON Baltimore, and so past few years he's been coming there, my husband and I. He was so kind. He gave us time to meet with him, even though we are not his disciples. And I'm just saddened that I didn't get to know more about him. But now that I'm hearing all the offerings, I'm just amazed that what great personality he was, and wish I had taken more time to serve him more in Baltimore. So thank you all for coming on again and sharing. And so we will end our broadcast now. So thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Thank you so much,
Mataji.
guys.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.